Hello. I decided to put an Akashic reading I had with Shirley Battie in 2011 onto Vimeo because I've put it onto my YouTube channel a couple of years ago or something, but it's on an old iPad, and so I just played the recording I took from the reading in 9 years ago, and I was just wondering whether it might be of interest to people to listen to somebody else's Akashic reading. Anyway, Shirley Battie does an introduction first. She goes into a trance, and there's 3 people there, and I was the first one. But at first, she starts to explain about the soul's journey.
2. For you travel through the void, knowing that you exist, until you come to a cosmic body, a planetary system. There, after much time, and varied for others, you decide that in order to experience, which is the point after all, to experience more fully, you begin to take form. You come down through the dimensions in order to experience more. You understand this so far? And the form that you grow with is totally dependent on the environmental conditions of the planetary body that you have arrived on. We are putting into a few short words millennia of time, much more time than you can conceive of. But we have to be concise here. Now, once you arrive on a cosmic body and begin to take form, then comes the desire to spread even further, to enhance the whole of the universe with your being. You understand us? This is the divine source pushing itself further and further so that it might experience yet more. You understand? That drive comes from within that source and is part of you. We feel we have done enough, we have said enough. May we have the first one, please? Good evening, Heike. Yes, we see you. Yes, we see you. Very much a lively spirit. Not easy to keep in one place, you see. And the cosmic body that you arrived on was not to be the only one for you. That is to say, you arrived on the Pleiades. But seeing as we have difficulty keeping you in one place, you decided also to travel to other cosmic bodies, those in particular that are concerned with the development of planet Earth. Do you understand us thus far? You travel the stars, in other words. Though we have to say the Pleiades was your origin there. In today's parlance, when you ask somebody where they come from, what do? Do they say where they were born, or do they say where they have recently been living? You understand me? And this is you see. So you could say you are multifaceted. Now, because of your need to experience as much as you can, we will never be able to hold you still, you understand this, ever. You volunteered to come to the planet Earth in its time of development. That is to say, you came with a group, a large group, for the purpose of developing Homo sapien from the original creatures on the Earth. Are you with me? Yes. Now, it is not allowed simply to go to a planet and take part in its development just for the fun of it. You have to have a role, you have to have something to offer, and after 3 visits, you must become a citizen of that planet. That is to say, you must incarnate as a human being, or a form that is being developed. This is just to give you the basis. And this is true for all who arrive from other planetary spheres. This is a galactic law. Yes, we could go on a tack here, on a tangent here, but we feel we must stick to our brief. Now, your role, therefore, was to teach the developing forms, not yet Homo sapien, but growing into such. I don't wish to give you a lesson on how the genetics have been altered. I think we feel you are already aware of this genetic interbreeding, so that you are now what you are. But the idea was that to take away simply the thinking, if you can call it that, of the developing creature, that existence is for survival and procreation only. You were to introduce the idea of music, of enjoyment, for the sake of enjoyment, you understand? Not because it has a purpose exactly, but simply for its own sake. And your genetics from your planetary system were used to introduce this concept. In other words, the coding of your breed on the Pleiades were introduced into the developing human being. And without others such as yourself, the developing human would be a very serious creature indeed. Do you understand? And so this is why we now have a music ability, an artistic ability, and a feeling for joyousness for its own sake. This was your purpose. This is why you were allowed to come. However, in Atlantis, you were incarnated 3 times, twice as a female and once as a male. It's very hard to keep down in one place. This will continue, you understand. This is nothing new, and it will never be a turning point for you. It's not bad to be on this strain. But it was noted that you quickly became bored when things settled too much. And you were always looking for something new, something more, some excitement. You understand this? But the excitement you found in the last days of Atlantis. And before we continue with you, Heike, we must tell all here that the arrivals from other planetary systems always in those days took place through the gateway, the portal that was Atlantis. This is why Atlantis comes up so much. There was one big portal there, entry point, immigration center, whatever word you like to give it. This was the main income stream. It has since moved and changed, but that is not concerning you at the moment. So if you find that you have memories of Atlantis, any of you, this is why. So Heike, you were there at the end. It was known in advance that the Atlantean continent, vast though it was about to break up. And plans were made for evacuation in the danger spots, you understand. Many think that Atlantis, the whole of the Atlantean continent, went down. It did not. It broke up. It was enormous. And parts of that land are now known as other countries. Do you understand this? There's only portions of Atlantis that went. Large, to be true, but portions nonetheless. Now, in this latest incarnation there, you were male. You were very agitated male. Again, you needed to settle, but did not exactly know how to settle. And you went to Egypt with a large crowd. The reason for you choosing Egypt was because of the arrival and the settlements of the so-called gods at that time. You understand? Those from Sirius and Orion and various other places. They were in situ, if you like. And so this was an obvious place for the Atlanteans to travel to. At that time, there were already indigenous Egyptians and other indigenous races. So there was a mixing and a melding. And your role there also was to introduce a less serious way of living. And you did this by holding, in today's world you would call them musical classes. In those days it was simply gathering groups and encouraging them. Did you see? Yes. Such a restless soul. You also incarnated 3 times into Egypt. And the latter time, not strictly Egypt, but in the lands of the wanderings of the Master Jesus. You understand this? Yes. For this provided some excitement, you see. You were male again. Yes. Constantly getting yourself into trouble, we see. Stepping on other people's toes. You understand this?
Yes.
You do this now, yes?
I didn't think
Not
I did.
so much, but you have done it in many of your lives, we
9
see.
years ago, so things change.
Shall we say, oftentimes not thinking before you speak and upsetting somebody else's point of view. Yes. That has been a characteristic. But it is your irrepressible nature that allows this, you see. However, it has been an adventure. Another incarnation took you to North America, where you incarnated as a Native American, a Pueblo Indian, much given again. You were there as female, but you were much given to entertainment. Yes, and we have to say often of a sexual nature. But it was fun to you see. You did not take anything very seriously, even then. Yes, and again you stepped on toes by feeling that if you felt love, you should be able to express it. And this was not the way of things in your tribe, you see. Much too serious around you. You seem to place yourself in incarnations where others around you are serious and you are there to lift the spirits. Do you see? Yes. This has happened more than once in your incarnations. And you understand, all of you, that when we look at the incarnations, we have the time frame, but it is very difficult to pinpoint a particular one and put it chronologically in order. So forgive us if we swing to and fro. We tell you all that the main purpose of your existence, from beginning to end, for which there is no end, is soul growth. That is the main purpose. If it is felt that your soul would benefit in growth by incarnating back in time, then you are allowed to do this with a few restrictions. That is to say, if any of you felt your soul would grow more quickly with more opportunities by incarnating back, shall we say, to the Great Plague, you would be allowed to do that. But we feel that you will not be choosing this. It's much more exciting to go ahead, is it not? Yes, on this particular timeline. Yes. So, Heike, yes. As a Native American, you traveled across Canada and America in various incarnations. Being a bit of a rebel most of the time. And yes, we see you in one of these as a male, finding the right words here, confronting those in authority and trying to change things. Do you understand this? You are a little bit of a rebel for the status quo. You do not like status quo. Do you wish to ask a question?
I behave the same way now. Is this my path?
Am I
Your
on my path?
is to stay true to your nature. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If your drive is opposing authority or trying to influence authority, it does not have to be opposition, you understand?
Yeah.
If that is your drive and your nature, then yes, of course, that is your path. But the main purpose is to bring a lightness where there is seriousness. Do you understand? Yes. Where there are so many on your planet today who are submersed in doom and gloom. And your presence will lighten that mood, you see. And your role then is to show others that there is much to be gleeful about. But you move on, you see. You do not stay in one place for too long. Because you find when you have done your task, there is no need to stay. Do you understand this? You feel then, where can I go next and do what I have just done? So this will be part of your nature.
Nature.
We're not saying that you must continually be on the move, simply, but that is part of your nature. If you resist your nature, your character, then life is more difficult, do you see? Because it is going against the grain, as they say. So do not be afraid to tread on toes, because you won't be around when they start hopping, do you see?
Yeah.
It's quite useful, that. You can step out of the way. Yes. You will be always in the right place if you follow your characteristics, your nature. If you or others try to change you, that is when things can go awry. Do you understand? Yes. So we could go on life after life giving you where you've done similar things, but it would become boring to you after a while. You have had serious lives, by the way, for it was necessary for you to understand what it was like to be in that frame of mind, you see? Otherwise you could not understand. And having understood, you can then have compassion for those who find it difficult to lift themselves up. Do you understand this? So yes, you have had the serious lives, the miserable lives, and so on and so on. But we are just picking out a few here. So we thank you for the quality of your soul and ask that you continue. You will be around a very long time. And what is time? So bless you. May we have the next one, please?
I'm Jennifer.
Good evening, Jennifer. Yes, you come from Sirius.
No, this is
And we might say a Sirius.
Sorry, this was not meant to continue. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that. It's 9 years old. We are now in spring 2020. Amazing times we're living in, and that's one of the reasons why I decided I listened to Astrology for the Soul tonight, and I listened to what Guy Pacha was saying about the times we live in, and how everything is changing and how we have to adjust and adapt. And I was thinking the idea of self-reflections and even to get to know yourself better. A regression, I find, or Akashik reading, or hypnotherapy, or quantum healing technique. These are wonderful techniques. And, well, if you're so inclined. Some people will not be inclined to it, but some will. And so I just thought I'd put this up. I do have a YouTube channel as well, heikesdrumshare, and I've just started this channel to try out how it works on Vimeo. Today is May the 28th, just about, I think. Oh wow, actually, well, 28 says, understanding that life is about learning, I can extract something of value from every situation. I do this at my live streams on a Monday. And May the 29th, which has been like 2 minutes now, even though it'll be ages until I upload this. Let me not resist change, but embrace it. It offers an easy path to internal transformation and personal empowerment. Wow, that's funny, isn't it? So May the 29th, let me not resist change, but embrace it. It offers an easy path to internal transformation and personal empowerment. I'm wishing you a good spring 2020. Stay calm. There are a lot of good people. We are one.